Welcome to Wild Spirits Outdoors, the place for real hunting talk, tactics, and a few laughs. Now let's dive in with your host, Brad Dijon.
Hey guys and gals, welcome back to Wild Spirits Outdoors. If you're listening on the day of the drop, today is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. I'm recording this on the evening of January 19th, so the day before the drop. So as soon as I'm done recording, I will go inside, get this edited, and get it prepped for tomorrow's 6:30 a.m. launch on YouTube, iTunes, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Pretty much wherever you watch or listen your podcasts, it will be loaded to. This is going to be a fun episode. It's not going to be anything crazy. We're not going to get too deep into anything. We're just going to talk about a few different things. But before I kind of get into that, I want to touch a little deeper on a video that I put out on YouTube and on Facebook this weekend. If you follow along with the podcast, but you didn't catch the clip I put on YouTube, I had talked about some upcoming guests that we're going to have either in studio or remote. And I'm pretty confident, I'm going to say about 90% confident, that this coming weekend, maybe on Friday, maybe Thursday, let's say Thursday, Friday, or Sunday. I don't think it'll happen on Saturday because I have some other prior commitments that I'm excited to attend. But I will be doing my first ever podcast interview of a gentleman that's going to join me, but he's not going to be in studio. I will be in studio. He will be joining me from his home in the state of New York. Me and this gentleman connected through the podcast. We chatted back and forth through Messenger, and he said, "Hey man, I love what you're doing." He told me a bit about what he was doing. Seems like a really cool guy. So we talked back and forth. The name of his YouTube channel, guys, if you want to go check him out, it's Droppin' Hammers Outdoors. He's just a passionate whitetail hunter. And we got to talking, and he does a lot of hunting in the state of New York, obviously. And I said, man, I've always been kind of really curious about that New England hunting, specifically like the upper northern part of New York. It just seems like a completely different style of hunting. And if you remember when we had Tom Kelgeron on the episode, he did some hunting over in the New England area, and he did a lot of, spot and stalk essentially, or track hunting, where you would cut a track and you would just work your way in on that deer. I think this gentleman might have some similar encounters. I'm not going to pretend I know anything about New England hunting because I don't. I've never done it. I've read about it. It's always interested me. It's always been something that I've thought about doing, just have not made it there yet. I've got some other whitetail hunts that have captivated me a little bit more, but I do intend to get into the New England area, particularly upper state in New York, at some point in time. So I'm excited to have him on. It's going to be interesting. We'll see how well I'm able to figure this out. Hopefully I can make everything work so that we can record this with him remote, me here. Everything works well, and we'll see how it goes. So I will forewarn you right now, for that episode, there could be some lag time between speaking and video. So if you're watching and it's like watching an old, Chinese kung fu movie, I apologize. I will do my very best to try to sync everything up, but oftentimes when you are doing a remote guest, depending on the internet speeds and things like that and how it's coming through, so their internet speed, my internet speed, voices can progress normally, and then video can lag behind. I will try to sync everything up, but just be warned if you're watching it on YouTube and it's driving you nuts because lips are moving and nobody's saying anything. I'll do my best to fix it, but just bear with me on that one. So I'm excited for that. This gentleman runs a YouTube channel called Droppin' Hammers Outdoors. So if you get a chance, if you want to kind of see what this guy's about a little bit and just learn a little bit more about him, I encourage you to go check out his YouTube page, Droppin' Hammers Outdoors. I believe I have not watched all of his videos. I've watched a couple of them. I watched a PA hunt, and I believe I watched one of his New York hunts. But Just a down-to-earth guy, loves to hunt, and just wants to share what he's doing. So excited to have him in studio, and I'm excited to hear what he has to say about New York hunting, because it always seems to, it doesn't matter where you live, everybody always seems to think hunting whitetails where they're at is the hardest. I hear a lot of people say that about Michigan. I don't agree. If you want to shoot monster bucks, yeah, it's going to be hard to do in the state of Michigan, but it can be done. If you want to shoot nice quality bucks, it's certainly doable in the state of Michigan. Places like PA, West Virginia, New York, those kinds of places, when I think about hunting that kind of property, to me that seems very, very challenging. So excited to get his take on it. As far as other guests, I had talked about it. I have a couple more lined up. One is going to be about bear hunting, and I'm drawing a blank right now, and I apologize. I cannot recall off the top of my head. Oh, see, I did this when I did the video, and now I remembered after I said I don't remember. The other one is from a hunting production here in the state of Michigan. I'm excited to have this gentleman on as well. He hails from the central part of the state of Michigan, so we're trying to work out the details. I don't exactly have a date set, but we're trying to work out the details where we can have him come in and record here in studio. Also, Tom Calzerone from Leveled Outdoors, I anticipate having him back on again here pretty soon. He is actually in the process of selling his house and moving into another house, so I think that's going to happen sometime late January / early February. So once he gets settled in, what my goal is to go over and actually visit his new workshop where he works on bows and does shooting. He'll have an indoor range, kind of tour his facility, show what he's doing over there, and then we'll come over here and we'll actually record a podcast. So I'm excited about that. Other big news, I teased it a little bit in the video. I'm going to tease it a little bit more again here. We may have our first podcast sponsor, and I'm excited about this one. This gentleman commented on one of my posts. I reached out to him. We had a great conversation. He's from the state of Ohio. Dude just seems super, just salt of the earth kind of guy. And, I'd never got a sales pitch feeling from him. In fact, he was more worried about the logistics of how to sponsor and, how much it was going to cost him if he was going to be able to afford it. He really wanted to, but he's like, I don't know if I can afford it. So we talked about it. I'm not making any promises yet, and I told him this, and I'll tell you guys this. He has sent me product. He is a broadhead manufacturer. He sent me his product. He encouraged me to run it through the ringers, and that's what I'm going to do. I was hoping to get to it last weekend. Did not happen. I was hoping to get to it this weekend. It's too cold outside, guys. I'm not going to go outside and try to shoot my bow. It's just too cold. I had snow to plow, and I had a little bit of honey-do list here at home to do. But when this weather does break a little bit, which I don't think is going to happen for a couple of weeks at least, I will get out and I'm going to put these things through the ringer, and I'm going to be honest about it. And I'm going to do some, I'm going to video what I do. So if I'm impressed and I like what I see, I'm excited to have them become a sponsor to the podcast. So more information to come on that. This past weekend, had a great weekend. Drove over to the other side of the state to briefly visit with my youngest daughter at college. It's always nice to go see her. While I was out and about, I actually left really early Saturday morning to drive to the east side of the state. My intention was to drive to the east side of the state, drop my daughter's car off to her, visit with her for a little bit, drive home, pick my buddy up, and then we were going to drive to Kalamazoo. Did not happen as planned. The goal was to go to the Kalamazoo Outdoors Expo, or Outdoor Sports Expo, on Saturday. But it did not go as planned because Mr. Brad here found a bright, shiny object and decided to go play Let's Make a Deal, which I was able to do, and I was excited about it. I'm happy about it. I picked up a Jeep Wrangler 4-door. Kind of a long story, but my daughter was going to sell her car to one of her teammates, and she wanted to buy my car. So I agreed to sell her my car, but then I had to find a car to replace my car. And the wife wanted something a little bit bigger, so I started looking and I found a couple of Jeep Wranglers, and then this one just happened to kind of fall in my lap as I was heading over there. Went over there, test drove it, played Let's Make a Deal, was able to get it at a price I was happy with, the seller was happy with, and I'm excited about it. It's gonna be a nice, little cruiser. It'll get me back and forth to work, and I don't have to drive my big 2500 all the time. So that's what kind of prevented me from making the Kalamazoo Outdoor Sports Expo on Saturday. So if you were there Saturday and you did not see my bald head running around, I apologize. But I did make it over there Sunday. So I got to spend a couple hours there on Sunday, walked the entire floor, had a great time. For those that don't know, the Kalamazoo Outdoor Sports Expo, it ran January 16th, 17th, and 18th. I arrived on the 18th. Didn't quite know if there was going to be, a lot of times on these shows that last day things really start to wind down. I wanted to get there early, which we did, because usually as you get there later on that last day, people are starting to shut their booths down. People are ready to, pack up and start heading for home. But I think all but one booth was attended by somebody. The show was great. I didn't see a lot of new gear, stuff like you would expect to see at an ATA show, which was fine by me. I don't look at new gear and be like, oh, gotta have this, gotta have that. When something of mine hits a point where I feel it needs to be replaced, I worry about it. That's when I start looking at updating, and I don't necessarily, I'm not a guy who's Googling what's trending in archery or what's trending in rifles or anything like that. I find what I like, and if it works the way it's supposed to work and I'm happy with it, that's what I end up buying. So did not bother me that there was not a ton of new gear to be shown off there. What I enjoyed seeing was there was some great taxidermists there showing off some beautiful work. There was a lot of fishing charters there. There were some safari hunts, which, that's a bucket list for me. It's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen next year, but, maybe sometime I'll be able to get to go do a safari type hunt. And then there was some great food plot seed companies there. Michigan Food Plot was there. Killer Food Plots were there. Both really good brands. There was a couple more. I cannot recall their names off the top of my head. So sorry, guys. I can't remember who you were, but I did have a great conversation with a couple of them. I always like talking about that stuff, talking about their seed blends. I get geeked out and giddy when it comes to habitat management, food plots, things such as that. So it was cool to meet and talk with those guys, down to earth folks, just passionate about what they do. So that was fun. Also got to speak with a couple of different fishing charters. One in which that I was very, we kind of hit it off talking. He's local to the area, local-ish to the area that I live in. He charters out on the Big Water on Lake Michigan. He also charters the Detroit River as well as Lake St. Clair for walleye. We had a great conversation, and as we were talking, I said, hey, this is what I do. Here's my business, Wild Spirits Outdoors. I run a podcast. Would you ever want to come on and talk about, fishing charters and just fishing in general? Because again, I've said it before, I love to fish, guys, but I'm not a diehard, if you ask me, what should I use for this situation, I'm not that guy. So having somebody with that kind of knowledge come in will be awesome. So I think I'm going to be able to get him lined up. He's all about doing it, so I think we'll get something set up there. Excuse me. I also met a gentleman at the show who is a Michigan native, and he's an author. He's written several books. Had a great conversation with this gentleman. He was cracking me up. I think that is going to be a great podcast. I talked to him about it. He said he would do it. So I'm going to get a hold of him, get something lined up. He doesn't have to travel too terribly far to get here, but this one might come a little bit later. Maybe if we can get past this brutally cold snap that we're in right now, maybe we can get something set up. But I'm very excited to have that gentleman on. I think that is going to be one the memory book for sure. This is a seasoned gentleman, I shall call it. He's an older gentleman, but he's been all over the place in the state of Michigan, and he's written a lot of books about a lot of different things in the state of Michigan, outdoor related. So excited for that one. I really hope we can make that one happen, because I think that is just going to be a fantastic storytelling type podcast. I will probably sit here just kind of, starry-eyed listening to him talk, because when people with those kinds of experiences can talk about it the way that he talks about it, I just get enamored with the stories, and I just kind of fall into it, and it's like them telling me the story. So very excited about that one. And then I saved this one for last. I want to give these guys a specific shout out. I had never heard of this organization before. The name of the organization is the Fallen Outdoors. This is a nationwide veteran-owned 501c3 that is dedicated to getting vets involved in outdoor activities, and they are really pushing to prevent veteran suicide. So had a great conversation with the Michigan chapter that was there at the Kalamazoo Outdoor Sports Expo, and nothing guaranteed yet. They expressed interest, but if nothing else, if I'm not able to get them on the podcast, I at least want to give them a shout out. So if you get a chance, go to Google, just search the Fallen Outdoors, look up the Michigan chapter or the Ohio chapter or wherever you live. Look at what they're doing. Look at some of the stuff that they are needing. And if you can help in any way, shape, or form, I encourage you to get involved with these guys. I think what they are doing is fantastic. Our veterans are owed way more than they are given in society. I'm not saying we don't give them the respect that they deserve, but the system for a lot of these gentlemen and women that come back from active duty is broken, and these guys are trying to do what they can do to help repair that, and let these guys know that there's stuff there worth living for. So very excited about them. I am going to continue to do some more talking with those guys, see if we can get them lined up to come on the podcast, and look for ways in which I can help and I can get involved. So with that being said, that is kind of the culmination of the Kalamazoo Outdoor Expo. Had a great time. The turnout was fantastic. For being there on the last day, it was very, very busy. You really can't ask for a better regional show. So keep doing what you guys are doing. It was fantastic. It was fun. Maybe next year I'll have a booth there. We'll see. So with all that said, let's kind of get into what this week's podcast is kind of going to be focused around. Let me take a quick drink. Got me some sparkling water here. I'm going to talk about a few different things. This is going to be a very light, probably a fairly short podcast. But I want to talk about this is going to be more geared towards my Michigan outdoor enthusiasts. This is going to be talking about a lot of stuff specific to the state of Michigan. So January is here. Most of us are done deer hunting. There's a couple of seasons left in the state of Michigan. We'll talk about that for a little bit. We'll also talk about what other opportunities there are hunting and fishing related going through January and beyond, just to help keep us in it, find things that we can do outside. We will talk about the January 14th NRC meeting recap. I did not get to attend that one. I really wanted to be there, but I had to travel to Georgia for work, so I missed that one. I talked to a gentleman who was there. I'm going to talk a little bit about what he observed from the meeting, which sounded very promising to me. But I'm not gonna just say, I don't want to be the guy that's like, well, this is what I heard happen. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I'm going to go based on what the meeting's agenda was, and then I will just briefly talk a little bit about some of the stuff that the gentleman told me took place. We'll also talk about the upcoming NRC meetings. We'll break into what's available for hunting and fishing now in the state of Michigan, and we'll kind of close it out with a little something different today. So with that being said, let's get into it. January 14th NRC meeting recap. first, before we even get into that meeting recap, I again want to remind folks and encourage folks, the NRC is actively holding these meetings, and they will be setting the regulations, I believe, for the next 3 years based on the meetings that they are having now. And I think I don't remember how many meetings there are. I know I bookmarked the next 4, and then I will talk about the next 4 here in a couple weeks. But if you are a hunting and fishing enthusiast in the state of Michigan, I encourage you to please try to attend at least one NRC meeting. Go to the NRC website, see what the meeting agenda is. If you're passionate about something, I encourage you to try to get up and speak before the NRC board. I am going to do my very best to speak at least one time. I want the NRC to know that hunters want our voices heard. We don't want to just be heard. We want to be listened to. I think that's important. So many people, and I've said it before, and myself included, for far too long have just kind of griped and complained that no matter what we say, doesn't matter, the NRC is going to do what the NRC wants to do. And I think that is true to a very high level. But if we don't make our voices heard, then we have no way of saying that our voices weren't listened to. If we don't talk, then we're definitely not going to get listened to. So I encourage folks to try to make at least one meeting. I think I will be at the next meeting. I don't believe I have to travel for work that week, but I will definitely be attending as many of these as I possibly can. So again, I don't know what exactly took place. I wasn't there, but the agenda of the 14th meeting was the Wildlife Division updates. They discussed the Game and Fish Protection Funds. They discussed deer management goals and herd balance. They discussed preliminary elk season results and population discussions. They discussed further from what has gone on in the past, the predator and coyote regulation discussions. I think that one needs to be paid very close attention to by us, particularly for folks in the UP that are dealing with wolves. I think we want to make sure that wolf discussion is being brought up for sure before the NRC. Another agenda item was state land use and surplus land items. Something else that we as sportsmen, whether you're a hunter, fisher, hiker, backpacker, camper, we need to pay close attention to that stuff. We've seen it happen in other states. We've seen it happen here in Michigan, where the state tries to sell off public lands. And we need to be mindful of what they're doing, what their intentions are behind why they're doing it. If there's a replacement put into effect, like are we selling, some low quality land, and in return we're going to purchase something better. We need to be paying attention to what they're doing with that, because we don't need public lands being sold so that solar farms can get put up wherever they want to put them up, decimating habitat for wildlife. We as outdoorsmen need to pay attention to that stuff. I guess they discussed the importance of public commenting, and they're encouraging public comment more so now than they ever have. I've talked about it as I've gone, but these meetings matter, guys. At the end of the day, if we don't talk, nothing's going to change. If we do talk and then nothing changes, then we really do have reason to be pissed off and reason to, say, look, people are talking, you guys aren't listening. And then we need to do what we need to do at the polls when we're voting for the people that are making these appointments. We need to vote people in that are going to appoint people that are going to actually listen to us. It starts with us. Everything starts with us, guys. The regulations that they're going to put forth for the next 3 years could have a massive impact on the next 10, 15 years of hunting, particularly whitetail hunting here in the state of Michigan. Again, just to reiterate, hunters, anglers, outdoorsmen, our voices matter. We might not think it, we might not feel it, but our voices matter. So, with that being said, the next 4 upcoming meetings are February 11th at the Lansing Community College West Campus, March 11th at the Lansing Community College West Campus, April 8th at the Lansing Community College West Campus, and May 13th, location to be determined. One thing you will see trending as I talk about these meetings, if you're not aware already, I think all but 2 of these meetings are scheduled for Lansing Community College. I don't like that. I don't agree with it. That is an insanely long drive for way too many people. They should be breaking these meetings up and they should be holding a couple meetings in the UP, at least one on the western side and one on the eastern side, if not more, in my opinion. They should be holding a meeting up in the northern area, maybe around Gaylord. They should be holding some meetings, Lansing, and then maybe down in the southeastern area of the state. I don't get to control where they set the meetings. We don't get to control where they set the meetings. So there's a TBD May 3rd or May 13th, excuse me. And then I know for sure there's one meeting that is booked for Marquette, Michigan, up in the Upper Peninsula. So with all that being said, as far as the meetings and where they're going to be located, I know it can be a pain in the butt. A lot of these meetings are being held at times where the majority of us are at work. Try to look them up. Try to pick a date. If you got to take a couple hours of PTO or a couple hours of vacation, it's worth it, guys, especially if you can get, a couple groups of people, get a couple vehicles that carry 4 or 5 passengers. And if we can get, a couple vehicles, 4 or 5 per 10 people to go to a meeting, and we can get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people to do that. If we can get 10 people to take 4 people, that's 40 people at the meetings. We need to get involved. We need to make sure our voices are heard, and we need to know, you can only read so much into the minutes of meetings or into the agenda, but if you can actually sit there and look at these people's faces as discussions are being held, it'll really give you a feel for where they're at and what their thought process is. So I encourage you to attend. Again, I will be attending. Once I know exactly what dates I can surely make that I don't have to travel out of state for work, I will be putting in for PTO. I will be taking a vehicle that can hold between 4 and 5 people, depending on which vehicle I take. So if you live in the West Michigan area and you want to attend one, but you don't have the means or you don't want to or you don't have the ability to get to Lansing, shoot me a private message on Facebook or email me at the info@wildspiritsoutdoors.com. Let me know who you are. You don't have to tell me your address right now, but just say, hey, I live in this city. I want to attend. And I will do my best to try to accommodate as many people as I can. And I have some buddies who also plan to attend. And if you can't get to a meeting with me, maybe I can set you up and you can get to a meeting with them. So that's all I got to say on that one, guys. Please attend. Please be engaged. It matters more than you think. So now I'm going to take a drink and we're going to talk about what's available to do hunting, fishing wise here in the state of Michigan in January. So January is always a weird month for me. I'm winding off of whitetails. This year I never got super ramped up on whitetails. I don't need to get into it again. I was into whitetail hunting, don't get me wrong, but I just never got myself at the level that I felt I needed to be. So usually when I'm coming off a whitetail season, it's like kind of like an adrenaline dump for me. It's like, oh man, it's over with. This year I just never got that adrenaline level or excitement level up to the par where I'm typically at because I just was always feeling like I was a little bit behind. So typically January is kind of a very slow month for me. And it's been a slow month for me as far as outdoor activities this year because I've had to do quite a bit of travel. And then when I haven't been traveling, it's been really, really freaking cold here in Michigan. I got to go do my Ohio hunt the beginning of January. We're now entering the 3rd week of January. I have not been ice fishing yet. I think this weekend we're going to have some ice, and my goal is to be out there ice fishing. So I'm excited about that. But as far as hunting goes, we've got small game hunting. We've got coyote hunting, so rabbits, squirrels, yotes, fur bears. That stuff's all available to us right now here in the state of Michigan. Depending on where you live, there is bobcat hunting. Where I live, we cannot hunt bobcats, but depending on where you're at, you might possibly be able to. Small game in particular is something that I love. I grew up, I kind of cut my teeth as far as hunting goes small game hunting, and I've always had a soft spot for it. I don't do it near as much anymore as I used to, but I do plan to take some time. I believe small game runs till the end of March for squirrel and rabbit. I think grouse season ended maybe the beginning of January. Don't quote me on these season dates. Look up the dates. You guys seen how bad I screwed up Ohio almost, so don't trust me on season dates, but I'm going to tell you what I believe they are, but I encourage you to look them up for yourself. I think grouse season ended. I think there's certain areas where it's open through January, but I intend to do some squirrel hunting and possibly chase some rabbits around yet this winter for a couple of things. One, I never really got to satiate that predator primal urge inside of me with my hunting for whitetails because I didn't get to go out that much. And two, I just want to get out and enjoy the woods. When you're small game hunting or you're rabbit hunting, there's no, I got to be to this stand by this time. It's just when the weather's right, when the mood strikes, you grab the 22, you grab the 410, you grab it and you just go. And you set the pace. You can push as hard as you want, or you can just take it easy and just kind of take it in. And I think that's what I'm going to try to do is just get out on some nice days and throw the orange vest on and just go for a stroll and see if I can plink off a nice handful of squirrels, maybe run into a rabbit or two. And I'm going to try to do that a few times this season. Just slows everything down. You get to enjoy the woods more. You're not so focused on getting to a stand or focused on, which way the wind is blowing or anything like that. It's just nice, easy, calm. You can take it in. You can enjoy the woods. You can listen to the birds. You just set your own pace. So I encourage other folks to get out and do that too. It's a great, don't play with your phone while you're doing it. Just put the phone in silent mode or whatever and just go out there and just kind of shut the world off and just let the woods talk to you. I know that sounds cheesy, but I'm telling you that, it's gonna decrease the cortisol levels. It's gonna make you feel better. It's gonna rejuvenate you. Breathing that fresh air in. And again, you get cold, you go back to the truck. You run into town. You go to the diner. You have a cup of coffee. You grab some brunch or some breakfast or some lunch or whatever it is. And then when you feel like it, you go back out. And then you just fall back into it again. So I'm going to definitely take myself up on that. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to try to get a couple buddies to come join me. I think that'll be a fun time. I think I'm going to bring the 22. Single shot, bolt action Remington 22. That's what I used when I was a kid more than anything. That thing's a tack driver, and it's just fun. Pocket full of Thunderbolts, just a shaking. How many of you remember that? Orange vest, all, stained in the bag from throwing your squirrels and rabbits in it, and a pocket full of 22 Thunderbolts, just brings back nostalgia for me. So I'm excited to do that. The other thing that you get out of that is, in addition to just taking in nature, you don't realize it, but you're really teaching yourself patience, because you can't just go running through the woods chasing squirrels. You just got to take your time, walk slow, listen, watch. Just everything slows down. So patience, shot discipline, things such as that. Just things that can come back to you, things that can kind of bring back that inner child if you want to take it to that level. Very excited to do that. There are some extended archery deer season still. I think that goes through the end of January here in Michigan. There's late season antlerless firearm in certain counties. Don't quote me on this. I don't want to get into it here, but once they changed muzzleloader to any firearm, it just kind of put a bad taste in my mouth altogether for all the firearm dates outside of the standard November 15th gun opener, and then muzzleloader season, which I still go out and carry a muzzleloader in because I want muzzleloader season back. And that's something else that I think people that are into muzzleloader hunting and just want that season to themselves and don't want to listen to 3 rounds of a semi-automatic .6 going off during muzzleloader season, we need to make our voices heard and be like, look guys, I want my muzzleloader season back. I want muzzleloader season back. I know there's other people like me out there that want muzzleloader season back. Another reason we need to go back to the NRC, make sure our voices are heard, and we need to tell them that. And I think it is being told to them. I got to stop right there because I forgot to mention the gentleman that did attend the meeting. He messaged me and told me that 10 people got opportunities for public speaking in front of the NRC board. And I think they allot like 3 to 5 minutes per person. So that's a tremendous amount of public engagement in the very first meeting. I think usually your public engagement's like 3-4 people. So the fact that they had 10 people and they allowed 10 people to speak, I think that it's at least an indication that they're taking this serious when they say they want public input. So again, if you can get to a meeting, go to a meeting. Now I'll stop talking about that. I'll get back into the hunting stuff. So we talked about the small game, rabbits, squirrels. It's just a fun, slowed down, relaxation, take nature in pace, go at it at your own speed. You don't got to get out there at the crack of daylight. You can sleep in, drink your coffee, wait till the day starts to warm up, get out there around 10:30, and hunt till 2 o'clock, hunt till 3 o'clock. You don't got to sit out there till dusk. It's just a great time to pick and choose when you want to do it, and do it when the weather's the way you want the weather to be. It's a beautiful thing. What else do we got? We got the opportunity when you're out there doing that to maybe cut a deer track. Maybe follow that deer track as you're squirrel hunting. See where it's going. See where it came from. It's just it's a way to satiate curiosity, learn some things about the woods as you're going. Maybe go hit some public land that you've never been to before and just wander. See if you can cut some tracks. See if you can figure out what the deer are doing in there. It's just a great time to just take in the woods and learn. You can get an idea for the kind of deer numbers that are in areas that you've never hunted. If you've got public land that you've never deer hunted, it's a great time to go in there and just kind of mosey your way through looking for squirrels and see what the deer numbers look like in there. What else do we got? Coyote hunting. So, coyotes can be a major problem in a lot of areas. I had a bad coyote problem a couple years ago where my property is. I tried to take a few coyotes with my bow and arrow. I never got out there with my gun, unfortunately, but that they're tough to kill with a bow and arrow. That's for sure. They pick that movement up quick. But a couple years back, I had a really, really bad coyote problem to the point where I was seeing more coyotes per deer sit than I was seeing deer. I had a gentleman reach out to me, and I gave him permission to come in and predator hunt my property. He works a job that requires very odd hours, and he can be called at a moment's notice. So he works for a fire department. So it was very difficult for him to get out there, and he never actually made it. But one of my neighbors offered his property up to a gentleman. That gentleman took him up on it, and he trapped and did some predator hunting with the old pew-pew, and he did a tremendous job because the next year the coyotes were back to a level that I would prefer to see them at, which is, seeing a coyote or two and not seeing a coyote or two or three or four or five every time I saw coyotes, every time I'd have them on trail cameras. I don't mind coyotes. They serve a purpose. I don't want to see coyotes eradicated. But when you're seeing more coyotes than you are deer, that's a problem. And it's a problem for the deer. It's a problem for the grouse. It's a problem for the rabbits. It's a problem for the turkeys. So if you have a coyote problem and you're not, and some people aren't into coyote hunting. I'm not like hardcore. I'm not going to go drop a bunch of money on thermals or night vision and go sit out there at night and try to hunt coyotes. I'm an opportunistic coyote hunter. If I'm out there hunting and happen to see a coyote, I will attempt to take it. But there are guys that are just passionate about it and they enjoy doing it and they're very good at it and they go all over and do it. So if you have a coyote problem but you're not into coyote hunting, get on a Facebook group for predator hunters, have a good conversation with somebody, and maybe you'll find somebody you feel comfortable with, and maybe you join them on a coyote hunt. The gentleman that I gave permission to hunt mine extended the invite to me to, hey, if I get out here, I'll let you know, and you can come join me. That I'd be into. I don't want to go spend the money for all the stuff required for predator hunting because it's not that big of a passion to me. Like I said, I'm an opportunistic coyote hunter. But again, for those of you out there who do have a coyote problem, if you're not into coyote hunting, I'm sure you can find somebody that you'll feel comfortable with, and maybe you make that an opportunity for you to try it and be like, hey, the first time you come out, I want to come with you and just see if you like it. Maybe you'll find another new hobby. Who knows? It's important that we do have predator hunting because obviously an overabundance of coyotes can create population issues for all sorts of critters. In particular, for me, it's wild turkeys. They really smash the wild turkeys where my property is. I think I've only coyote hunted, like actually coyote hunting, not just be hunting and happen to see a coyote, but I've only actually gone specifically for coyotes a couple of times. They're not an easy animal to hunt. So I think there's great opportunity there to learn some discipline in hunting, patience, resilience, calling discipline, calling coyotes. I think there's an art to that, just like there's an art to calling in a deer or calling in a turkey or an elk or anything like that. So I think there can be great opportunities to further expand your hunting prowess, if you will, with predator hunting. And it's just a great time of year to get out and enjoy the woods on your terms. Again, when it comes to whitetails, I'm going whitetail hunting whenever I can get in the woods and go whitetail hunting, weather be damned. When it comes to stuff like small game, predator, I get to do that on my terms. If it's a really, really nasty cold day, I don't have to go. I don't feel the urge that I need to go, but I can do it on my terms. I can go when I want to. I can go when the weather's nice. So, and I think that's good and resonates for all of us. And then, as we transition out of talking about the hunting aspects that January brings, we get into one of my favorite things to do outside of hunting, and that is ice fishing. I've said it before, I would rather fish hard water than sit there and fish freshwater any day of the week. I'm not a hardcore fisherman. I think I've made that very clear. I love to fish, but I'm not an expert fisherman by any means. I'm good enough to go catch a mess of perch or some specks, some gills, some walleye. I like chasing pike around. A lot of people don't like to eat pike. If you clean them right, pike are delicious, so I don't mind doing that either. But I love doing all that on hard water more so than anything. I think specks taste better. I think the meat is firmer in the wintertime. And I've got some spots where I can absolutely just slam specks. So I am excited that we are definitely, barring something crazy happening, for those that don't live in Michigan, I don't know what the temperature is everywhere in Michigan, but I think it's pretty close to what it is here. Until you get north, it's probably even colder. But I think the high today, Monday the 19th, I think the high temp today was 11. I think tomorrow the high is like 13. I think Friday the high is 6. And then I think it goes back to 11. I don't think we have a day above 20 degrees. In fact, bear with me. I'm going to check because I'm actually quite curious. Let's see here. Daily forecast for where I'm at. So tomorrow, high of 14. Wednesday, high of 26. Thursday, 18. Friday, high of 3. Saturday, high of 11. Sunday the 25th, high of 19. 16 on the 26th, 20 degrees, high on the 27th. And then if I go all the way out as far as the forecast goes, the warmest day we have through February 2nd is a high of 27 degrees. So there shall be ice, no doubt about it. I know a lot of the smaller inland lakes are froze over. I know people are out there fishing them. I've got a couple small lakes that I can go fish and can produce, but I've got some bigger bodies of water close to where I live that I just really enjoy going to. I know exactly where I'm going. I go to the same spot every time within, if somebody else beats me to that spot, I've got a few different spots within, let's say, 300 foot of that general area that I go. I might drill 4 holes, check my fish finder. As soon as I find a school of fish, I park my butt there, I put my shanty up, I turn my heater on, and I fish that hole virtually all day. If I get a little bored, I might go throw a tip up or two up. That's a tongue twister. But I just love to hardwater fish. I love to go out to Saginaw Bay. With these temperatures, I think there's a good chance the bay is going to be. I have not looked lately, to be honest with you guys. I'm not sure. I'm sure people have been fishing for perch more into the shallows. I don't know if anybody's been going out any distance. Typically, I go 8 to 12 miles out, somewhere in that range, to walleye fish out on the bay. I don't get over there a lot. Honestly, I'm lucky to make that trip twice a year. It's a long ways. It's a 3-hour drive for me to get there. Unless I spend the night, I got to get up super early. I got to drive all the way there, get all the way out to where I'm going to fish. I fish all day, pack it up, bring it all back, load the truck, and drive all the way home. I mean, typically by the time that's all said and done, it's a 16-plus hour day. So just makes for a very, very long day, so I don't get over there very often. But I do hope to get over there. I haven't even fired my snowmobile up this year, so if we get a little break in the weather, I guess I'm going to have to go try to fire the snowmobile up and make sure she's running if I intend to go to the bay. So we'll see on that. But yeah, so we've got ice fishing. That'll take us January, February, March. Sometimes it's iffy. Sometimes you can make it all the way through March. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you make it into April. Sometimes you don't. But we'll see. Again, there's a lot of different fish to target. A lot of different fish. There's people spear. I've never spear fished. Just never has been something that's, got me excited. But I love to target perch, gills, specks, walleye, pike. That's really what I'm after. I've gone for lake trout a couple times. I've never been successful. Again, for me to do that, there's a couple lakes around me that have them, but I don't know enough about them. I don't know exactly how to fish them, so I kind of stick with what I know. I like to go out, catch my limit, or as close to it as I can, come home, clean fish, cook fish, eat fish, repeat. That's how I like to ice fish. So I use every available tool that I can. I like to jig. I jig for specks, I jig for perch, I jig for walleye, I jig for bluegill. I like to run nice little teardrops. I run minnows, I run waxies, things like that. I use a very basic fish finder. I mean, for people that are getting into it, you can pick up a decent basic fish finder like a flasher, which is what I use. They're not expensive at all. I think if you've never gone ice fishing and you want to get into ice fishing, first, if you have never gone, period, I encourage you to go with somebody who has a good shanty, who has a good flasher, who has, the gear, so you can actually go do it, see how successful it is and how comfortable it can be versus just going out there and sitting on a bucket like I did as a kid, freezing your ass off, and it just made it miserable. But you can get into ice fishing. You can get a nice pop-up shanty that's comfortable, insulated, a fish finder, and a couple poles. You can go on Facebook Marketplace. You can find shanties used. You can go pick up new ones. Realistically, you can get into ice fishing with a really nice setup for, I'm just going to say, probably around $500. So it's not terrible. If you go to Facebook Marketplace, you can probably get into it for half of that. Just all depends on the types of shanties. I mean, there's shanties out there that cost a lot of money, but you don't need, unless you're going to be doing this every single day, you don't need that super high-end stuff. Again, it's, if you can do it and you can be confident and successful in it, you don't need all that extra stuff unless you want it. And then that's a decision you make. But, yeah, so I love having a fish finder. Man, when I first got into ice fishing, I had a little hand auger, little 6-inch auger. I drill a hole, and I, drop my line down until I found bottom, come up 6 inches off bottom, and you're just sitting there. You have no idea what's down there. Are you bouncing it off the bottom, or are you bouncing it off a freaking log? I don't know. I'm just sitting here jigging. Put a fish finder on there, even a flasher, then okay, there's fish here, or the fish are up 4 feet off the bottom. It just makes it so much nicer. I fish really for food. Like, I don't need the food, but if I'm fishing, it's fishing because I'm trying to bring home dinner for the night. Or if you really get into them, maybe you catch a huge mess, you have some dinner, you freeze some, you go back out the next day, and you can pack up enough panfish for a nice fish fry. Have some people over, have some fish and chips. That's what's fun about ice fishing for me, and it's just relaxing. I can just sit out there, play some tunes, listen to a podcast, take a nap, cook in my shanty. It's just a great time. And like I said the last time I talked about ice fishing, it's just cool to have like a little community of people in your area. You might have, 15, 20 of you within shouting distance of one another. Guys got tip ups going, and everybody's always looking out the window, see if anybody's flag's up, and then you see a flag and you open your window and yell, "Flag, flag," and somebody looks out the window like, "Oh, that one's mine," and then you go take off running for it, slide across the ice, and sometimes they pull up a great pike. You never know. Sometimes they pull up a bass. It's just a good time. It's just a really, really good time. I haven't checked yet, and I usually don't get on my phone this much, but I'm curious. There is a tournament here near where I live, and a lot of folks that listen to this that live in my area will be very familiar with it, but it's the Dam to Dam ice fishing tournament that takes place in Croton, Michigan. It is scheduled for Saturday, February 14th this year, so it looks like we're going to have great ice for it. I will definitely be there. I will be doing some videos from there. I'm going to try to put together a little swag bag to donate for a giveaway. They do giveaways, they do raffles. It's a great time. So if you live nearby the West Michigan area and you've never attended Dam to Dam, I encourage you to come. It's cheap. I don't remember what it cost. It's like $5-10 to get into the tournament. There's great prizes. There's good food, and there's just a lot of great people. It's a good time. So if you are into ice fishing and you have the ability to, look it up and try to make plans to make it to Croton, Michigan for the Dam to Dam ice fishing tournament, and I hope to see you there because it's a fantastic time. That kind of summarizes the January winter hunting, fishing, ways to cure those winter blues. I just dropped something out of my pocket, and ways to just kind of rejuvenate and re-energize and kind of reset everything. The last thing I want to close on, we've all heard, it's January, new year, new me, right? We hear that crap all the time. It is important, though, that when it comes to this time of year, it's really easy to get vegetative with our minds, with our souls, with our bodies, and that's not good for us. We were not meant to be sedentary. Is that the right word? I can't remember what the right word is. We were not meant to just sit and be a lump, constantly playing on our phones or constantly looking at the boob tube. We were created to be active, to engage in some struggles, to push through adversity. That's what we were designed and created to do. So I want to put a challenge out there for everybody that when it comes to this time of year, it can be very easy because it's cold out, because you get those winter blues, the days are short. It's just, sometimes it's just hard to even get energy. You get out of bed feeling tired, and you spend the whole day feeling tired. There's ways to help that. And I'm going to talk about a few of them here, so bear with me. I'm going to look at my notes, make sure I cover this stuff. Make a commitment to your body to do something active. You don't have to join a gym. I mean, if you can, you have the means to, you have the desire to, I encourage you to do so. Maybe you've got a home gym like I do. I have a home gym in my basement. It's not a fancy one. It's kind of a piece of junk. I don't even use it. I go to a gym, but a lot of people have those that have become coat hangers, treadmills that have become extra storage space, things like that. Dust those bad boys off and commit to 20-25 minutes a day minimum of just doing some exercise. You don't got to throw a bunch of weight. You don't got to sit there and get swole. Just get the body moving, get the blood flowing, get on a treadmill and walk for 15 minutes every day. Do a light workout, 25, 30 minutes. If you really want to get into it and go a little harder, you certainly can. But if you can put 20-25 minutes a day of putting your body in motion, elevating your heart rate a little bit, getting the blood flowing, maybe break a little bit of a sweat. It's going to help with those summertime blues that we all feel. Just lack of sunshine, all that just kind of, drains our bodies down. Try to create a habit out of it. I don't remember what it is, but I think it's something like, if you can do something consistently every day for 3 weeks, then it starts to become habit forming, and then it just becomes a part of your routine. And it's very easy to keep that routine. But if you break it, even for 1 or 2 days, you can backslide very, very quickly. So it's important to just keep doing it. Just force yourself to do it. Whether it's first thing in the morning when you get up or at the end of the day. I've tried getting up early in the morning and going to the gym before I start work. It's not for me. What I find and what I love and what I get more enjoyment out of is, you go through the daily grind of work. If you're like me, you carry a lot of that. You try to let it go before you start the family life in the evenings or whatever. But you can carry what you're thinking about, and you're already thinking about what you got to do tomorrow. What I love is doing the gym immediately after work. And I'm usually at the gym for like an hour 15, hour 20 is about how long I'm at the gym. And that includes, it's usually about an hour, and then if I hit the sauna, it's like another 20 minutes. But it's just a way for me to release the stresses of work from the day. I build all that stress up, and instead of carrying it home and then carrying it through the night and just never really being able to rest, I go to the gym, I kind of work through all that, get the body going, and just kind of resets everything, and then I feel much better. I sleep much better. So find what works for you. You might be a person who finds that getting up in the morning and doing it before work is better. You might find that doing it after work is better for you. But I encourage you to make a commitment to your body. Spend at least 25 minutes a day doing something active, walking, exercising, jumping jacks, calisthenics, stretching, something. Commit to that. Number 2, make a commitment to your mind. Maybe instead of watching an hour of TV, and I'm not saying don't watch TV. I watch TV. This is not a judgment thing by any means, guys. I'm just saying these are things that we can do to help refine and sharpen our bodies, and will help us feel better as we go through these winter kind of just dreary months. January, February can be just brutal because the days are short and oftentimes the weather just sucks. And if you're not out, fishing or hunting or something, you just kind of find yourself tucked away in the house and just kind of sitting there almost depressed. So maybe instead of watching an hour of TV, maybe cut that down to 30 minutes and grab a book. Find a book that you've never read before. I'm going to list off just a couple of things that I've read, and if you've never heard of them, I encourage you to check them out. And I'm only going to talk about one author, and I'm going to talk about, I think, 3 of his books, 2 or 3. I'll talk about 2 of his books because I read these when I was much younger, and I can still remember these books almost word for word today. They were awesome books. So if you've never heard of Tom Brown Jr., I encourage you to go look him up. He was a survivalist. He was a tracker. He lived in New Jersey, and he spent a lot of his childhood in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. If you've ever heard of the New Jersey Devils and you never knew where that name came from, well, it came from the Jersey Devil who resided in the Pine Barrens. There's a lot of controversy about whether Tom Brown Jr. was who he says he was or did what he said he did. Regardless of any of that, the stories that he put together, and another gentleman helped him co-author these. They were like biographies, basically, where he told the story and somebody else wrote it. But whether it's true, false, BS, legit, doesn't matter. The books were great. So there's a book called The Tracker by Tom Brown Jr. Great book. If you have young children, I encourage you to pick up The Tracker. When I say young children, they need to be old enough to read fluently. But it was a book that just really got my imagination going as a kid. Got me obsessed with tracking animals, trying to find bird tracks and trying to track bird tracks on the ground, frog tracks, deer tracks, raccoon tracks, possum tracks. The Tracker was a fantastic book. The second book related to Tom Brown Jr. that I'm going to talk about is The Search. This was a book that he biography or co-wrote or however you want to word it, about a special needs kid who got lost in the Pine Barrens, and supposedly, and again, I've never Googled to see if it's legit or not, because again, to me, whether it was a nonfiction or fiction book, it was just a great story. A special needs kid got lost in the Jersey Pine Barrens, and Tom Brown Jr. Went and looked for the kid. And that's kind of what the book is about. So those are two awesome books. Not saying you got to read those ones. Find something you're interested in. If that doesn't get you fired up and you want to talk about or read about something else, do it. But spend 30 minutes a day reading a new book. And then last but not least, and this is the most important of all, is, so we're talking about sharpening the body. We're talking about sharpening the mind. Most important, we need to sharpen our spirits. And I encourage everybody to take time out of your day to read some scripture, to talk to God, however you want to talk to Him. You know, you don't have to sit there and pray like this. Talk to God like you'd talk to a friend, because that's what He is, and He's there to listen to you. So read some scripture, have your prayer, have an honest conversation when you pray. And I'm going to give a shout out real quick to my wife, actually. I encourage you, if you're listening to this podcast, go to Facebook and search up Without Walls Ministry. All one word. Without Walls Ministry. All one word. My wife and her friend Shannon put this together a couple of years ago. They go and do outreach in different towns. They go to our local towns. They've traveled a little bit farther, and they're just spreading the good news about Jesus, and it's a beautiful thing. And this right now, what they are working on is a Bible in a year, reading the Bible in a year, and they have a Bible plan put together where, you know, a few chapters a day will get you through. In 365 days, you will have read the entire Bible. So if you can carve 15, 20 minutes out of your day and follow along, you don't have to try to catch up from January 1st when they started this. You can start now and just go back to the very first one, and you'll work through it, and you'll get done on January 19th, 2027. You know what I mean? But check them out. Check out what they're doing. And if you want to read the Bible in a way that helps you understand it, maybe you've never read the Bible or you're not quite sure how to go about it, the way that they've got this Bible in a year set up is a great way to read it. And then if you read the chapters that they're talking about, my wife or her friend Shannon will put a breakdown of a little bit about what that was about, or how it can relate to life circumstances. And it's a really awesome thing. So again, I encourage you, if you're listening, I encourage you, get into a Bible. If you never have, or if you have a Bible and you just haven't been doing it, I encourage you to get into it. And I encourage you, if you're not sure what steps to take or where to start, check out Without Walls Ministry and try to start their Bible in a year, and just go back to the very first post about the Bible in a year that started on January 1st, I believe, and just start there and just work your way through it. I think it's fantastic, and if you go to their page and you like it, give them a follow. And if it's doing something good for you and you notice a difference in your life, in your spiritual, feeling, how you're feeling about things, share it with other people. They are doing this. This is what they're doing, is just taking completely out of their time. It's not they're not asking for donations, nothing like that. This is just, they have a love for this, and they have a love for sharing the Word of God and the good news of Jesus Christ. So, with that, I'm going to sign off, guys. Like I said, I'm pretty sure 90-ish% next podcast we will have a guest remote from the state of New York. Excited for that one, and I'm excited for several guests we got coming up. A lot of fun things to do out there. I know this one was really geared towards Michigan, guys. We'll get into some other stuff. This will be about New York. It'll be interesting to talk to this gentleman. The bear hunting's coming. We're going to be talking turkey. We're going to be talking with a taxidermist. A lot of great stuff's coming, guys. So I thank you again for following along. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Follow along on Facebook, Instagram. Share it. Spread the word. Thank you all again. If you're getting outside, be safe. If you go on the ice, spud. be careful. There is no such thing as safe ice. One last thing, because I was just about to sign off. I do have merchandise available. If you are interested in merchandise, please go to the Wild Spirits Outdoors Facebook page. I put a post up yesterday evening talking about it. I have sweatshirts available that will have the Wild Spirits Sasquatch logo on the front and the Wild Spirits brand logo on the back. Those are available in black, tan, and green, sizes small through 2XL. Those are $35 a piece. That includes shipping inside the continental U.S. I also have beanies available that have the Wild Spirits logo on the front and the Chase the Wild, Feel the Spirit across the cuff. There is more stuff to come. There will be season merchandise based on the season. I'm working on some ice fishing stuff right now. Then I'll be working on some turkey stuff. It's going to be a good time. Guys, I'm making all this stuff at my home. I'm purchasing, basically these orders are coming in. It's made to order. You order one, you tell me the color, you tell me the size, I make it, I ship it to you. And I'll work through the details of payment and all that stuff. Honestly, I haven't even quite gotten that far. I'm working on it, but if you're interested in one, shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram or at info@wildspiritsoutdoors.com. Again, this is not for me to get rich. I'm not going to get rich selling $35 hoodies or $12 beanies. This is for me to put back into the podcast. It helps getting guests in. It helps with me being able to mobilize a little bit if I need to go to a guest. It helps me update podcast equipment, things such as that. So if you're enjoying what we're doing here and you want to see it continue to get better, this is a way you can help make that happen. So if you're interested, shoot me a message. Check out the merchandise on Facebook. Again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the love. Thank you for joining the tribe. This is Wild Spirits Outdoors. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to Wild Spirits Outdoors. We appreciate you joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, follow, and share wherever you get your podcasts. It helps us grow the tribe and keep on chasing the wild. Stay connected with us on Facebook and Instagram at Wild Spirits Outdoors and also on YouTube at Wild Spirits Pod. You can also head over to www.wildspiritsoutdoors.com for more content. Until next time, chase the wild, feel the spirit,